Frank Dolce joins us now. And Frank, I know you've seen the Mark Harlan tweet. He retweeted a Rivals post talking about four-star athlete Celeste Moa announcing his commitment. It's got a picture of Celeste, and he said, well, he was with us in class for a, in parentheses, last week. Public announcement, seen it all now. And then, parentheses, probably not. I know you've seen the tweet, and I'm sure you got some opinions on it. What was your first thought, Frank?
Man, this NIL world, it just, I mean, it just, I don't think it's ever been run appropriately. I don't think it's managed appropriately. I think it's putting a lot of athletics departments and student athletes in some peril. And it's almost shocking that it hasn't been cleaned up but at this point with all of the problems. And I'm also thinking about the situation with the quarterback at Washington who signed an NIL deal, jumped in the portal, and then came crawling back, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a mess. And so it creates, like, this is one of those unintended consequences of NIL, which nobody, like, people should have been thoughtful about it. Nobody was thoughtful about it in the beginning, which
I agree with that.
Still is kind of shocking.
He has since deleted the tweet, so he's officially deleted the tweet. Celeste's brother, Sione, tweeted at him and said, you're worried about the wrong things. And there are, multiple BYU fans that are piling on. I mean, they're loving it because it's just not the best look. How well do you know Taylor Randall? And what do you think his reaction or response will be or has been?
I've known Taylor Randall for years. Taylor Randall was one of my very favorite professors at the MBA program at the University of Utah, and he is a superstar. And nothing but good to say about Taylor Randall. And one of the things that Taylor Randall does really well is he puts good people in positions of power and then lets them do their job. And so, this is a situation where you might see him pop his head up. And I would just say you can expect a very measured, reasonable, thoughtful response from the president of the university.
I love that. And I felt that way too, Frank. And when Scotty and I were going back and forth on it, it's like at some point it starts to reflect on upper management. And that's the hard thing. I'm not saying it's not fixable because I've talked to Mark multiple times, and he's always rational, and he's always kind, and he's always thoughtful to me. And I'm sure that he's got the ability to fix things and to better himself and better this department. But at some point it becomes a reflection of upper management. And if you believe Taylor Randall is the man, then I would expect some type of repercussion, some type of apology, and I would expect this to be fixed, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. The way that I think the university views itself and wants to be viewed in the public is as, first class, lead from the front organization. And so if that's the case, then, it's easy to do that when things go well and everybody does and says the right thing. And then the real mark is, can you do that when there's a little bit of controversy? And how do you make that? How do you manage that appropriately and fix it? So I would suspect something will come out in that manner. And by the way, I mean, I know the athletics director as well, and once upon a time, being in the athletics department, I mean, I'm sure it was more difficult, but it used to be, gosh, you're dealing with a bunch of student athletes, and you're paying for a scholarship, and there's recruiting. You got these teams, and you introduce this craziness about compensating student athletes. And by the way, it's not fair compensation. It's still compensation based on like market value, which was never supposed to be the way it was instituted in the NCAA. I mean, funds were supposed to trickle down through the organization. That's never happened. You're still getting, and even within football teams, you get a guy that's being paid multi-millions of dollars and a guy who's a walk-on and making nothing and working part-time just to get through school. Like, there's such a discrepancy between the tops and the bottoms within a 100-man roster on a football team. That introduces so much complexity for an athletics department and for an athletics director. So pile that on top of now Mark Harlan is getting just, drawn through the mud about Coach Whittingham moving on to Michigan and how, Mark Harlan played some significant role in that because he did something or didn't do something. And, at some point, how many strays can you take before you react? And so, I might put that in, this reaction in that category of he was just catching a lot of strays and he reacted.
I fully understand that point. Like, I get it. I'm not in as a pressure-packed situation as Mark Harlan in a given day, but if everything just seems to be tumbling against me, at some point you kind of crack. So as we look at it, Frank, and there's a lot of great news, and Morgan Scalley leading the charge, and Jordan Gross coming back, and being able to retain guys like Luther Ellis and Sharif Shah. There's some really, really good news that's encapsulated in all this. But to Mark Harlan's point, to your point, all the things that have tumbled, you see Celestia Moa and J.J. Buchanan, and you get a couple of bad announcements, but then you get a Devin Dampierre, and you get a Bert Ficklin announcement, you get a Wayshawn Parker announcement, but then you lose Jim Harding, and you lose Doug Elisaya, and you lose Botari, and you start to tumble again. As pieces of all kind of now, the dust is settling. Today is the last day of the transfer portal, so the dust is starting to settle. As it settles, Frank, how beat up, bruised, and damaged are the Utah fans at this point?
Well, I think Utah fans should take one of Coach Whittingham's great strategies, and it's just time to circle the wagons, and everybody has to be all in. It's like this is one of the complexities that the ridiculous new system has introduced, that people can bounce all over the place without a commitment. And I know that's, you can make the argument about the hypocrisy for coaches and student athletes, and coaches can leave anytime and student athletes can't, but coaches can also get fired anytime. And you don't really fire a student athlete there. There's some separation there, but it's to me, it's like the circle the wagons moment for University of Utah fans, and let's all jump in, same team, moving forward. The Stoic philosophy is, it's not the event that harms you. It's the way that you think about the event. It's the way that you react to the event. And so you can take the side of, well, I'm going to be damaged. I'm going to think of myself as damaged because all this has happened. Or you can say, you know what, this has happened. I have no control over that. I'm jumping on board, and we're going to take a step forward. And hopefully that's what Utah fans can do. It's a waste of time. I've tuned in to the social media stuff, and it's a waste of time. And by the way, I never feel good after I do it and take a look at what's been being said and not, things that people are talking about, former coaches and everything else. I will say this, if I may, just to jump on the soapbox for 1 minute. For anybody who is railing against Kyle Whittingham and making any type of observation or statement that he has done anything underhanded with respect to the University of Utah or to this football program, pound sand. You're being foolish. This is an individual who dedicated over 20 years of his life to this football program. He will go down in the history books, not just the University of Utah football program, but in the history of college football as one of the best ever. He did nothing but good for the University of Utah football program. So whoever has anything to say outside of that, you're wrong, and please stop talking.
Oh, man, Frank, I feel very, very, very similar. Very, very similar, man. You know, he's doing what he is now set off to do, and he's in a very competitive world. But it's funny, Frank, because then you look at the paying customers, and you look at the ones that are buying the gear and buying the tickets, and I'm not that guy. I'm not the buy the gear, buy the tickets, commit to the team, commit to the brand. I'm just not that guy. So I understand why people are upset. But to your point, there's a level of greatness there that everybody needs to stop, think about, and respect when it comes to Kyle Whittingham. Last thing from you, Frank, your thoughts on Jordan Gross, his situation where he's losing his 2 offensive tackles, he's losing his 3 interior players. This was the best offensive line in Utah history, one of the top 3 offensive lines in the country. How confident are you Jordan Gross can replenish that offensive front, work in collaboration with Kevin McGivern, the offensive coordinator, and have that Utah offensive line clicking at the level it needs to click at to ensure Devin Dampier's success?
Yeah. I don't know Coach McGivern personally, and I'm, obviously wishing him the best of luck in his new role with the university. But I do know Luther Ellis, and I know Sharif Shah, and I know Morgan Scally, and I know Coach Swan. Like, these are some of the most competitive individuals you'll ever come across. These are some of the hardest working individuals you'll ever come across. Jordan Gross achieved what he was able to achieve in the game of football, not just because, he had physical attributes, but he took those physical attributes and he maximized his talent through work and dedication and effort. And so if any of those things are meaningful in the sport of football, and I think they are, then Utah's going to find its way into a very competitive situation sooner rather than later. Now, there is a talent issue, and Utah has to have talent on the field. And you can't just do it with technique. You have to have the talent as well. And so, my reasonable expectation of this football team is that they'll be competitive. Maybe not exactly where they want to be initially, because it has been such a loss of talent in critical areas, but there is still a lot of talent running around on that football field, and I believe in the leadership of the coaching staff and the competitive nature of the coaching staff. So, I kind of approaching it like, let's see what the product looks like. Let's see what the effort looks like, and then, we can make our determinations about where this football team is headed. But I would suspect sooner rather than later.
Well, Frank, if you don't mind me adding my opinion on that, because I do know Kevin McGivern personally, and he's the one that recruited Rock and obviously did what he did with Bryson Barnes at Utah State last year. I just want to continue to reassure Utah fans that Kevin McGivern isn't coming to not be innovative, and he's not coming here to lose. And Devin Dampier and Bird Ficklin and Wayshawn Parker did not recommit. They had opportunities. They didn't recommit to lose. These guys are all going to come together in a common cause, and I think that there's a lot of brilliant minds in that office. Kevin McGiven is one of the better socialistic coaches that I've ever been around, where he does not have an ego and he does not have an aggressive demeanor, but he does have an aggressive attempt to innovation. And I look at him as the right hire. I think that guy is the next, Jason Beck came in, you guys messed around, you found out. I think that you're going to mess around and you're going to find out about Kevin McGiven. I think he's primed for Big 12 play. I think he's going to have a lot of really great backfield combos of both Ficklin and Dampierre. And if Jordan Gross, he's the kingpin to me, Frank. If Jordan Gross can put some protection up front, if they can work the zone blocking like Jim Harding had them working to, even to just 75% of what they were doing last year, I think this is another 10-win team. I think that this is going to be just another season of back and forth. And when I say a 10-win team, then it just comes down to tiebreakers, or it comes down to the rivalry game, or it comes down to an onside kick or a ball bouncing your way. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Kevin McGiven, and I'm excited to kind of get your thoughts through the football season, Frank, of what you think of Kevin, because I think Utah fans are going to find out really quick that he's not one to trifle with.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't know him personally, but I do know that Bronco Mendenhall puts a lot of good talent around him. The reason Bronco Mendenhall is successful is because he puts talented people around him, and so if that might be all the proof that I need of the talent with Coach McGiven. And by the way, I'm excited. I mean, it's like reunited at Utah State with Bronco Mendenhall and his new old offensive coordinator. I mean, how about that?
Yeah, the doctor and I is back in the state, and we get to see Robert and his go fast, go hard, and all the things that he's learned through the years. And Bronco knows he needs immediate success. So he went to somebody that he feels really confident in and comfortable with, that will be prepared and will have a team to put on the field that doesn't look bad. I mean, that's what it's going to be. Yeah. And, you saw McKay Hillstead. He said goodbye to BYU, and he headed back to Logan. Yep. I think that's a perfect fit for Robert and I, don't you?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I thought Bryson Barnes is another guy that maximizes talent, probably, punched way above his weight. And I kind of feel like Hillstead gives you like a Bryson Barnes with even a little more athleticism, if you can do that. And so I think that's really exciting.
I think it's a great fit. Frankie, thank you. Appreciate your time, brother.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There you go, Frank Dolce. All things University of Utah run through Frank Dolce.